Welcome to Animals Wow TV. Today we'll look at the top 10 shockingly fattest animals you never knew existed. Stay until number 1. You won't believe how chonky this bear is. Number 10. Fattest Whale. Fatness affects not just us humans. There are plenty of supersized and obese animals. We're not talking about pampered pets here. We're talking about wild animals that live in oceans, forests, parks, and zoos. But ranking which animal is the fattest isn't quite straightforward. Take a look at the blue whale. It may be the largest animal in the world, but its body is actually 35% blubber, aka the fat that marine mammals can use to stay afloat, defend itself, keep warm, and store energy. The longest blue whale at 108 feet was spotted in San Diego on September 20th, 2020, weighing over 100 tons. That translates to a lot of fat for one animal. But if we talk about proportions, then the right whale is considered fatter. There are 3 species of right whales swimming in the North Atlantic, North Pacific, and Southern Oceans. They're so full of blubber and lipids that they float when harpooned. Other whales sink. Because they're slow and produce a lot of oil, they were hunted to almost extinction. They're now one of the most endangered species in the world. But researchers celebrated the fact that 2020 has been a good year for this whale. No accidents or deaths of right whales were recorded in Canadian waters so far. Number 9. Fattest Seal. Seals and walruses belong to the family of pinnipeds, and these animals are prime candidates for the title of world's fattest animals. In particular, pups that have been just weaned reach high body fat percentages after feeding on fat-rich milk. Generally, this baby fat disappears, but some manage to keep and even double this fat. Here's one famous example. Meet Yuki, a ringed seal of the Osaka Aquarium Kaiyukan in Japan. She's one of the stars of the aquarium because of her round figure that makes her look like mochi. She's chunky, and she's not afraid to flaunt it. She looks even fatter when she tucks her head in while sleeping. She does this to prevent her neck from being cold as she takes some Z's. She has a huge appetite and maintains her plump figure by eating 3 kilograms of fish every day. And fattiness seems to be a theme of the aquarium because Yuki has a fellow seal that's just as chubby. This second seal's name is Arare. She's the oldest ringed seal in the aquarium, and she's famous for her sweet smile. These blubbery seals have become so famous that a line of lifelike plushies was created after them for those who want to experience embracing a chubby seal. Number 8. Fattest Squirrel. Sightings of fat squirrels have been uploaded for several years now. There's the famous chubby squirrel that a professional photographer spotted in the Morro Rock State Preserve in California. In 2020, another fat squirrel, this time in the UK, was caught by another photographer chomping on a nut for dinner. But this gray squirrel takes the cake, or the nut. It was discovered hanging out in a parking lot. It looks like it's searching for something, probably food. As you may know, squirrels collect food during autumn so they can have food stashed away for the long winter. But they don't collect just any nut. They recognize by smell and instinct if a nut is good or rotten. The good ones they squirrel away, and the bad ones they throw away, and the ones that are just right, they eat. Number 7. Fattest Raccoon. Raccoons aren't called trash bandits for nothing. They'll eat anything. This is probably why so many of them turn plump when they have a steady supply of trash bins they can get into. Although no raccoon could be as fat as Bandit. Although he died in 2004, Bandit still holds the Guinness World Record for the world's fattest raccoon. He was 75 pounds when he died. His chubbiness wasn't natural though. He was born without a thyroid, which is essential in breaking down food. He began his life as a part of litter of puppies when a dog took care of him. Then he was adopted by an animal rescue expert named Pepper Klitsch in 1996. During his life, he actually broke the record for fattest raccoon 4 times. Now, no other raccoon has come close to his stats, although this guy might give him a run for his money. Number 6. Fattest Orangutan. Oshin is a female Bornean orangutan. She was born a wild animal, but she was captured when she was just a baby. She briefly lived in a safari park in Indonesia before a woman bought her and brought her to live in a house in South Africa. Oshin was treated like a human child at the ranch. She was put in clothes and fed sweets and processed food. It wasn't long before Oshin developed physical and behavioral problems. She put on a lot of weight that she could no longer live inside the house and had to have an enclosure of her own. She also began to walk upright to copy the humans around her. She had been kept as a pet for 13 years when her owner watched an episode of Monkey Life. The woman decided that Monkey World, an ape rescue center in the UK, would be a better home for Oshin. She contacted the center and arranged for Oshin's transfer. So for the first time in a long while, Oisin found herself surrounded by other monkeys in 2010. You can imagine the culture shock she experienced when she met the other orangutans at the orangutan nursery. She struggled to socialize with them until a young male Sumatran orangutan named Sylvester was brought into the enclosure. Although they had a rough start, Oisin afterwards adopted Sylvester as her son and took care of him like a mother. When the nursery's original foster mother moved out, Oisin became the new foster mother for other young rescues. While this was all going on, the center staff implemented an extreme diet and exercise regime for Oisin so she would lose some weight. She was 100 kilos when she arrived at the center. A year after cutting out sweets and eating only fruits and vegetables, she lost 25 kilos. By the time she was taking care of Sylvester, she could already scale a 20-meter climbing frame, so carrying a young orangutan was already easy peasy for her. We're halfway through. Are you liking this video? Then please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Remember to hit the notification button for regular updates of our informative and exciting animal videos. Number 5. Fattest Hedgehog. You know an animal has gone beyond being merely fat to totally obese if it's put under a strict diet. Arbuckle is a good example. He's a hedgehog living at the Newark Animal Rescue Centre in Scotland. Arbuckle began to gain weight when he was taken in by a human to save him from the brutal Scottish winter. When the cold spell wore off though, Arbuckle decided that life was infinitely better with the human, so he refused to leave the guy's home. So the little critter was given to the center. When he arrived, he weighed more than 2.3 kilos, and this was about 4 times the weight of an average hedgehog. He could hardly walk and couldn't even curl into a ball, which hedgehogs instinctively do when attacked. Animals at the center are generally released back to the wild, but Arbuckle would not survive if he continued to be overweight. So he was put on a diet. He was also encouraged to exercise, so his food was scattered across his enclosure. He'd need to walk to be fed. The staff hopes that Arbuckle's body, especially his internal organs and bones, had not been damaged by his obesity, and that he would be able to get back into his natural shape. Number 4. Fattest Lions. In the wild, it's extremely rare for lions to become fat. They usually have to roam and hunt far to get something to eat. This means a lot of walking and running. So it was quite a shock when a photo of a fat lion in the savannah circulated some years ago. It shows one lion with an engorged belly walking over a dry grassland. Then this news broke the internet. Pictures of overweight circus lions standing on their hind legs prompted a lot of complaints against one of Russia's top animal trainers. The trainer was accused of animal cruelty by making the lions pose in unnatural poses and jumping through rings of fire. He was also accused of feeding the lions junk food. There was even a petition to Russia's prosecutor general to check the condition of the lions. Of course, the trainer denied everything. He pointed out that the animals were old, so they gained weight easily. Plus, the lionesses had had cubs, which meant they'd put on additional pounds in the past. An expert also said that the large animals were not in danger of developing cardiovascular problems because of their weight. Another expert on wild cats said that it was better for the captive cats to put on weight rather than to be underweight or starve to death, which is what many circus animals go through. Whatever the truth may be, there's no denying these are some fat lions. Number 3. Fattest Tigers. From one big cat species, we go to another. Zoos and animal parks are a big topic of debate among animal lovers. They offer ways to see animals that we may never get the chance to see in real life, but they also keep animals captive. If you've been on extended quarantine, then you know how difficult it can be being stuck in one place for a long time, and some of these zoos and parks don't seem to know how to take care of their animals. Take for example China's Siberian Tiger Park. Photos of their chubby tigers went viral in China for giggles and the ahs, but other netizens from other countries have criticized the park. Yes, the tigers look cute and cuddly. Yes, they look like they're being taken care of, but the truth is, they're being overfed, and their lifestyle is posing a serious danger to their bodies. They're so fat that they're developing illnesses that affect their joints. They can hardly sit, much less stand up and walk. Also, Siberian tigers in the wild are generally loners that consider large tracts of land and forests as their territories. The photos show at least 9 tigers in their enclosure. An unhealthy diet, coupled with an unhealthy social environment, can only mean stress for these poor creatures. Number 2. Fattest Monkey. Local and visitors in Thailand once named a long-tailed macaque in Thailand Lung Uwan, or Uncle Fatty. It's not hard to see why. Just look at the balloon tummy. It's so bloated it swings each time he walks. When he was discovered by the internet in 2017, he weighed 27 kilos. A normal macaque weighs only up to 10 kilos. Experts believe that he got this way because tourists kept feeding him foods and drinks that were high in sugar and calories, like sugary melons, milkshakes, and even noodles. Because he didn't have to forage for his food, he also did not exercise as much as other monkeys did. Officials from the Thai Department of National Parks, Wildlife, and Plant Conservation captured Uncle Fatty and put him on a strict diet in a special fat camp. But the plan failed when Uncle Fatty kept stealing the food of other macaques because he became a pack leader. And one day in February 2019, Uncle Fatty suddenly disappeared. Although his body was not discovered, vets feared that he was dead. He was already 21 years old. With such a bad diet and old age, he might have gotten sick and weak, and gone off into the forest to die. Number 1. Fattest Bear. Bears double their body weight before hibernation. Some of them can reach up to 550 kilos since they eat up to 40 kilos of food each day when they prepare for the cold winters. But there's one bear who's been at the center of controversy because of his obesity and weight-related illnesses. This is Dylan, a male Asiatic black bear. He used to live in a small concrete and steel cage at the Union County Sportsman Club. Dylan was part of the main attraction for club members. Despite several petitions to improve Dylan's life or to relinquish the bear to a better place, the club management stubbornly held on to the bear. But the USDA got more heavily involved, and even actor Alec Baldwin and PETA appealed to the governor of Pennsylvania on behalf of the bear. Dylan was finally freed and transferred to the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Colorado. Vets immediately began treating Dylan's physical problems. His gums, cheeks, and chin were infected, and almost a dozen of his teeth were rotten. All of his paws had been declawed. He had arthritis, and he was severely overweight, so he was given healthier food. And for the first time in his life, he had a large enclosure and fellow bears in his habitat. Finally, Dylan has a family and the opportunity at a better life. There you have it, our top 10 shockingly fattest animals you never knew existed. Which one touched your heart? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click the like button and to subscribe to our channel. And while you're here, you might want to check our feature on the Grand Canyon mountain lion.